Alright guys, this is Adrian from Yugioh showing you guys another deck profile. So this is Chris showing us his ancient gears with his with the new support that came out. And alright, go right ahead, Chris.
Okay. For starters, you have to play 3 ancient gear hunting hounds because when the time during the turn that you normal summon him, your opponent takes burn damage of 500, and also he's treated as a rockin' poly, so you don't need to do polymerization to fuse them with.
Is he? You run 3 or you run 2 hunting hounds?
Run three of them.
You run 3?
Yes.
Okay. Where's your other one? Or
I think I can't find them.
Okay.
I guess I have to find another one.
So it's mandatory to play 3.
Yeah. And then for this, I have Courage Trooper. To me, I would honestly recommend playing 1 or 2 of them because you would mostly, even though you would send 3 of your top cards from your deck to the graveyard, you can mostly use the other effect for it to be destroyed and you draw 1 more. Then next you would have Spell Striker.
Why do you run Spell Striker? In your personal preference, why do you run it?
He can attack directly and sneaks past monsters, and even when he's targeted for attacks, you take no damage revolving it.
Oh, okay. So it's technically a tech card. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Okay. It's your tech card. All right, Chris.
Then next, Ancient Gearbox.
I see a lot of people running 3 ancient gearbox. Why do you run only 1? Is there a reason?
Because you can, the effect's okay. It only lets you add, if it's added from your hand instead of drawing him, you get to add a monster that's 500 or less. That's an Earth type machine, and that's why I only play 1.
Oh, okay.
Next, I would recommend you play 1 red gadget, because he lets you add a gadget that's a yellow gadget from your deck to your hand.
Okay.
Next, I would personally recommend a yellow gadget.
Because it does the same effect.
Yeah.
It switches off. What color? Green?
Yes, green.
Green gadget.
Yep. Then I play only 1 of those green gadgets.
So you play 1 of each gadget?
Yes.
Red, green, and...
Yep, and only switches to let you add a red gadget. And then Ancient Gear gadget. For me, I would personally recommend 2 or 3 of them, because the minute you normal or special summon gadget, you can declare 1 type. Your opponent cannot activate it in response when another monster declares an attack, and you can also make him change into any gadget you have on the field until the end of the turn.
Why do you only play 1 gold gadget though? Oh, Ancient Gear gadget. My bad. It's not gold gadget.
Because it's tough for me to find. I need to find 2 more of those, and yeah, and even though I play only 1, he can still help you out.
Oh, okay.
Ancient Gear Wyvern. To me, I would recommend 2 or 3 of them because they let you search in your deck to add an Ancient Gear in its name. But you cannot set spells or traps for the rest of the turn.
So you cannot activate polymerization, or you
no,
can?
no,
Just can't set
you can activate spells or traps. You just cannot set them for the rest of the turn.
Oh, okay.
On its activation. Minefield Driller. To me, I would personally recommend playing only 1.
What's his effect?
Because when he's destroyed while face up, when he leaves the field while being face up, you get to add a field spell in your graveyard back to your hand. Then, Ancient Gear Knight, I would recommend playing 2 or 3 of them, because you can not just normal summon him on your first turn, but on your next turn you can add him back to your hand and normal summon him again to make him gain an effect of negating spells and traps from being activated.
When he attacks though, right?
Yes.
Only when he attacks.
And then Ancient Gear Chimera. I personally would recommend playing 1 or 2 because he only gains 1 of the effects depending on the tribute gadget of a red, yellow, or green gadget.
And so that guy, that monster, is the only one that deals stuff with the gadgets though, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
then Ancient Gear Hydra, I would recommend playing 1 or 2 because 2 or 3 actually, because his effect is nothing. He gains appropriate effects on both an Ancient Gear and a gadget effect. For Ancient Gear, he can attack your monster. If he battles it and it's not destroyed, it can banish it, and also it can attack all monsters. And once it attacks, nothing can be activated in response.
Okay.
Ancient Gear Golem, I would recommend playing 2 because he cannot be special summoned. Other than you have to normal summon him by tributing him. He negates spells and traps from being activated from attacking, and it becomes a piercer when he attacks the defense. Ultimate Pound, I personally would recommend playing up to 2 because he doesn't negate anything. It just becomes a piercer, and you can send a machine monster from your hand to the graveyard to make it attack again. And if he is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can add a Polymerization from your deck straight to your hand, and if you do, you get to add an Ancient Gear monster that's in your graveyard.
So he's technically your searcher, right?
Yeah.
He's your searcher. Okay.
Gadgets for Ancient Gear Gadgetron Dragon, I would recommend only playing 1 or 2 because he gains the same thing like Chimera, only gadget effects, except once this card attacks, spells and traps can't be activated in response. And then Reactor Dragon. Reactor Dragon is kind of like Hydra. It gains one of these 2 effects from an Ancient Gear or a gadget effect.
Yep.
If he gains Ancient Gear effects, he becomes a piercer, attacking the defense. And if this card tribute for a gadget, he can attack twice. And once it attacks, nothing can be activated in response. And at the end of the damage step, if this card attacks, you're allowed to destroy a spell and trap on the field. And then now for spells, Ancient Gear Catapult, I would recommend playing 1 or 2 of them because you can only destroy a face-up spell and trap you control, and if you do that, you get to special summon an Ancient Gear monster, ignoring its summoning conditions from your deck.
Oh, okay.
And then also, if you want, you can banish this to target a card you control, and you get to destroy, and if you do, you get to special summon a token.
So when you do the first effect, what would you recommend to special summon from your monsters?
I would recommend you would special summon either a Reactor Dragon or an Ancient Gear Golem, because once they hit the field, if you have for Ancient Gear Golem, he's being ignored from his summoning conditions. Instead of you actually tributing him, you can special summon him instantly.
Oh, okay. Makes more sense then.
And then next, Gear Town, I recommend you play 2 or 3 of these field spells because you can both players contribute 1 less monster for an Ancient Gear, and if it's destroyed by a card effect, you get to special summon an Ancient Gear from your hand, or deck, or graveyard.
Oh, okay.
And then Dark Hole, even though it's limited to 1, I would recommend playing with him, because for your Ancient Gear fusions, there are some of them that are unaffected by spells and traps. And
So, would you, for your Dark Hole, would you rather play a Dark Hole, or would you rather play a Lightning Vortex?
Dark Hole, because it destroys all monsters on the field, and also some effects will go off in my graveyard from Ancient Gear Ultimate Pound.
Yeah. So you do a Dark Hole for board wipe.
Yeah.
You get the special summon off, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Galaxy Cyclone, I would recommend playing 2 of them because you can not just destroy a set of a spell or trap, but you also get to banish it and destroy a face up of a spell and trap. Mystical Space Typhoon, I recommend would play 2 of them as well because you can destroy a spell or trap and it's a quick effect. Polymerization.
How many polymerizations do you run? Just one?
Only one because Ancient Gear hunting hounds are treated as polymerization.
Oh, okay.
Ancient Gear Workshop, I would recommend playing run 2 of them because you can target an Ancient Gear in your graveyard and you get to add it back to your hand. And you can especially get hunting hound back.
Oh, okay, that's good then. So then you could just fusion summon because it's another polymerization like you said before.
Liminal removal.
Broken.
You can only play 1 and it's a quick effect. It doubles all machine type monsters you control until the end of the turn, and during your end phase your monsters are destroyed.
Oh, okay. I hate that card so much.
Ancient Gear Fortress. I would recommend playing 2 Ancient Gear Fortresses because anytime your Ancient Gears are normal or special summoned, your opponent cannot negate their summons with card effects or target card effects. And if it's destroyed, you get to special summon an Ancient Gear monster from your hand or in your graveyard. Ancient Gear Castle, I would recommend playing 2 of them because it gains a counter and all Ancient Gears gain 300. For every counter it gains for every monster that was normal or set, and if you would attribute a monster from your hand for an Ancient Gear, you would send this to the graveyard to treat it as a normal summon.
Oh, okay.
And for traps, recommend playing 3 Call of the Haunts because you can keep bringing back Reactor Dragon and can make it a beater instantly, even though it loses effects.
You're not afraid if someone destroys Call of the Haunted with like an MST or something? Or when they destroy that, because you destroy your monster, you get the special summon, right?
Well, yeah, you still get the special summon. Then next, I played Jar of Avarice. I would recommend playing 2 of them because you can shuffle 5 cards in your graveyard and you get to draw 1 more, and you will not deck out at all.
That's smart.
Mostly excavation device, evacuation device. I would recommend playing 2 or 3 of them because you can just bounce a monster off the field when they either declare an attack or there's a monster you cannot get past at all. Bottomless Chapel. I recommend playing 2 of them because you can just destroy and banish their monster that's 1500 or higher.
And then, but actually, for the whole compulse thing, you can only play 1 compulse. That's why it's appropriate.
Well, yeah.
So,
Ancient Gear Reborn.
okay.
In my opinion, I would recommend playing only 1 because there can only be 1 face-up of this trap, and you can also bring back your monsters. It's like a Monster Reborn, but except you bring back your Ancient Gears and they gain 200 attack permanently, even if this trap leaves the field for any reason.
Okay. And that's your main deck?
Magic Cylinder. I recommend playing 1 or 2 because you can just negate their attack and inflict damage equal to that monster's attack.
One good common pet card.
Yep. Or DFE Traveler, I would recommend playing only 1 because you can. Your opponent must guess a card from their hand when your opponent declares an attack. If their attack they call out from your hand correctly, their attack goes through. But if not, their monster gets bounced off the field. Graceful Tier, I would only recommend one.
Yeah, because you don't want to really give your opponent a card, right?
you give your opponent a card and but you gain life points, which is a good thing, but you give your opponent a card, which is a bad thing. Bad aim, I recommend playing 2 or 3 of them, because when your opponent any card effect that your opponent activates, you can target something else and destroy.
That's like a tech card. One of those good tech cards. The original.
Breakthrough skill, I recommend playing 1 or 2 of them, because you can negate a face-up monster effects, and you can also banish this card to negate your opponent's monster effects during your main phase.
And personally, you just play 1, right?
Yeah.
Personally, you play 1.
And then Mirror Force, I recommend playing 2 or 3 of them, because you can destroy all your opponent's attack positions and just wipe out their field. And then Venus Chain, I would recommend only playing 1, because you can, even though you can negate your monster's effects, you have some continuous spells and traps that revolves around your ancient gears.
Oh, okay.
And now, for my extra deck, I recommend you play 3 Ancient Gear Howitzers.
F that card.
Because, even though he requires 2 Ancient Gear monsters, doesn't says any kind, they're unaffected by card effects, and also you can burn your opponent for 1,000, and when he's destroyed by battle, you can special summon an Ancient Gear from your deck, ignoring its summoning conditions.
Broken, but okay.
Chaos Ancient Gear Giant, I would recommend playing 1 or 2, because even though he's a good beater and can stop your opponent instantly, you would have to get a monster that's treated as Polymerization to get him out, because he requires 4 Ancient Gear monsters. He's unaffected by spells and traps, and once you enter battle phase, your opponent monster effects cannot be activated during the battle phase, and it's a piercer and can attack all monsters on the field.
Wow.
And then, last but not least, Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem.
There he is.
I would recommend playing 1 or 2 of them, because he needs an Ancient Gear Golem and 2 Ancient Gear monsters. And he must be fusion summoned. He cannot be special summoned unless you have a card that ignores it. And once he attacks, your opponent cannot activate spells and traps in response, and it becomes a piercer. And when he's destroyed for any reason, you get to special summon an Ancient Gear Golem in your graveyard, ignoring its summoning conditions.
Alright, thank you, Chris, for your deck profile. And this was Yugioh Rogue, and this was Adrian speaking. And like, comment, subscribe for more content coming out soon, and we'll catch you guys later.